This is a story of service to a nation and a commonwealth. It tells of an unbounded strength and inspiration that springs from the happiness of a family from whom much is sought. As are families, so is society. Therein lies the greatness of Britain's king and queen. On April the 26th, 1923, a new life opened for the Duke of York as he left the palace for Westminster Abbey to marry Lady Elizabeth Bowes Lyon, daughter of the Earl and Countess of Strathmore. From the great enthusiasm of that April day, there glowed the simple warmth of heart for a young pair at their wedding, and none could know the course that destiny had planned for the Duke and his bride. So a pledge was made to share whatever the future held. As the wife of a royal prince, the Duchess would leave behind the personal ties of the Scottish aristocracy from which she came. And as the royal family appeared on the balcony of the palace, a new chapter begins. The first years of their marriage saw the royal couple face up to a heavy program of engagements. The visit to Mount Pleasant sorting office was an example of the almost daily routine of public duty. And there was always the kindly humor and personal approach. It was as Duke of York that the King founded his annual camp for boys from every sphere of national activity, and for a day he too was just a member of the camp. This was democracy at work. The Blue Mountains of New South Wales claimed the royal ambassador's interest as a break from formal duties during the 1927 visit to Australia. Britain's greetings will again be carried to the Australian people when the royal family returns to the Commonwealth next year. Back in England, there was a great reception from the crowds as they drove to the palace. And on the balcony, the great crowd saw not just royalty home from a successful tour, but a mother and father happy in reunion with Elizabeth, the baby princess. May the 12th, 1937. A date in history. As the great stagecoach moved steadily through London's streets to Westminster Abbey, the nation and the world paused to watch. For fate had called the second son of George V to follow his illustrious father. A King of England was to be crowned. Through streets that enfold the very story of England down the centuries, the splash of pageantry brings back the ritual of the ages. Yet its strength is still in what it symbolizes. Unity, the virtues of service and high example, leadership, courage, and a faith in spiritual values which a nation must accept or ultimately perish. Monarchy as we know it has come to mean just this. And so, before the kings and princes of the nations, before statesmen and representatives of the peoples, the Archbishops of Canterbury and York performed the ceremonies of coronation. A great moment in history is here, as by the grace of God and by the will of the free peoples of the British Commonwealth, George VI and his Queen assume the symbol whose inner meaning and message is ever new. To this service of dedication, the King added his own supplication. With the highest distinctions in the service of others, and to the ministry of kingship, I have in your hearing dedicated myself with the Queen at my side, in words of the deepest solemnity. We will, God helping us, faithfully discharge our trust. Pomp and ceremony has ended. For King George VI and his family, the responsibilities of monarchy are before them. In the short respite after the coronation, the King and Queen relaxed with their children. Throughout their reign, they have enjoyed the happiness which children bring, and at this point in their lives, the princesses were as children should be, happy and carefree. For the children, too, had a big part to play in the affairs of state, but their time was still to come. Today, they were still children, but family romps in the future would inevitably be fewer.